Picking up from where we left off, I've got a custom viewport configuration. I'm going to go back to a single viewport, and it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go back to a visual style of realistic. And one thing I missed about setting up views is setting up camera views. Now notice on the Visualize tab we have Create Camera and Show Cameras. I don't have any cameras in this, but I'm going to create a camera, and you can just sketch the camera. Remember that wherever you pick is going to be on the XY plane. If you want it to be on a certain elevation, you can start with the dot Z, and then you can just explain what height you want. Let's say 0, 0, 60. And that forces that camera to be at that height. Now the target is still going to be on the XY axis, and I'm only getting an approximate idea of where that camera is if I'm in an isometric layout. Nevertheless, I get to pick where I want to look at. So I pick where the camera's from and where I want it to look at. Once I pick those two objects, I can exit and I've got the camera. In order to see what that camera sees, I select the camera and I can see a camera preview. I can also determine the visual style for that camera. And then I can activate that camera by right-clicking and choosing Set Camera View. Before I do that, I might want to just change the position of the camera. Or I can go back to see more of the objects. I can change the field of view of the camera, and this makes the camera more distorted. So the wider the field of view, the more dramatic the perspective will be. And this basically relates to the lens you're using in your camera. Once you get to where you want, you right click, and then sometimes you have to be careful to right click in the right place, Set Camera View. And this is good preparation for rendering because you're generally going to want to render. So I can still adjust the view, field of view in here because the camera is selected. So make sure you make sure you use cameras if you want to render. I don't know whether you can name the camera, but let's just turn on the properties palette. I don't think there is a camera. There is a camera name, so I could just name the camera. Camera and number is probably fine, but you can always go back to that camera and render that camera. So the next step would be setting materials and adding lights or setting up a location.